Alright, I presented the video last week and it said, what would you do? And I'm here and we're going to do something. I've come up with a plan, I've come up with an idea, and I'll give you just a few more shots here so you can have a better viewpoint. Because this is kind of a study in tree engineering. What's a good, smart way of doing this that you're going to cause minimal damage? Okay, after a lot of thought and a lot of guessing, here's my best guess at what's going to happen. What we're going to do first, let me tell you the way I'm going to do it. We've got the ladder up high. I'm going to go up as high as we can. We're going to put a chain as close to where this tree is leaning on the other tree. The chain is going to go down, and what we're going to do is we are going to put another chain around that redwood tree over on that side and use a big turfer winch in between the two and go all the way over there, and we're going to jack the winch over and hopefully get this tree to slide down on this tree on that side. My big concern about this tree falling into this tree and having the hazard of the base break is still very real. We talked about it and I said, if it happens, it happens. That means the tree was ready to go anyway, and we just gave it a little push and they're okay with it. We know we've got a ticking time bomb in this big tree over here, and frankly the two woods of the two trees, the cottonwood is kind of a flexible tree and it's a much weaker tree, and I believe it's going to fall into the oak and bend up, and this part over here is going to bend down. That part that's straight up and down over there is going to come down kind of an angle and hopefully slide through here, and we're trying to save all these small trees. So we got a lot happening here, and I will show you what is going on. The base of that tree over there, if you didn't see the first video, well, let me go show you. Alright, I've showed this before, but if you didn't see the previous video, this is the big hazard. Someday this tree is going to fall down. This ancient old Quercus agrifolia coast live oak that's full of ants is supporting an absolutely incredible amount of weight that's off in that direction, and the weakness over here is very real. There's very little activity over on this side of the tree. If you look at it over here, it's really not that thick, but the trunk and all the weight, there's nothing counterbalancing it back this way to speak of. It's all over there, so it's going to pull this at some point in time. This thing is going to explode. To make things even more interesting is this is an ancient tree, and embedded down here, I've showed this before, but would you look at that? It's an old Indian grinding stone. Damn it, I just dropped my glasses. I gotta climb down into the ant pit to get it. Oh, crud. Hope that's not a bad omen. Oh, there's ants all over me. Oh, so that's where it's holding. We still got a little bit right here that we're gonna have to jack over. I'm up on the top of a ladder. The chain is down there. The other chain is going to go way over there to that redwood. We're going to hook up the two in between and hopefully be able to bend this trunk enough or break it at the base enough that we can get it to go over there. That's my try. We'll see what happens. All right. This is what I refer to as a calculated risk. Now in tree work, a calculated risk is where you take every precaution you can and you set up every safety you can, and you know what's potentially going to happen, and you anticipate based upon past experiences, and you still keep your fingers crossed. This is a situation where I'm hoping everything goes as smooth as I believe it's going to go, but you know what? I'm going to show it as it happens. If we screw up totally and break everything, or if this big tree falls down, you're going to see it. Damn ants, God, they're all over me. Jeez, oh God. Hope for the best.
Everybody,
We got it all ready. All the chains are intact. I think that's the best location. One last check, double check.
okay.
You got the turper winch over there.
This
Clients are over there watching. They say they got 911 on speed dial. Well, I hope this is a good show and not a disaster. Let me show you that turper winch. It's called a turfer winch, and it's a 5-ton rated winch, more than a come along. And the way it works is this cable goes all the way through, and you can see it on the ground there. And this mechanism right here pulls the cable. All right, go ahead, give it a winch.
right here. Every time full.
There's a little pin down there.
The chain.
The chain
More for the other.
moved a bit. Okay, that didn't feel right. There is a pin in there that's a fail-safe.
Right here.
That pin down there, if it breaks, it doesn't release, it just locks up. But this pin right here keeps you from breaking the winch.
Okay.
And believe me, we've broken it many times. I hope we don't break it today. But you know what? I'm going to go out the outside there and see it from the front area. All right, let her go. We'll see what happens. If it doesn't slide off of there, we may have to cut a wedge at the base of the tree. But I'm hoping we don't. Because if the trunk of the tree is still somewhat intact, that'll slow down this tree from coming crashing down. And I'd rather have it controlled. If I can get it off that other tree, that's the whole game plan there. I hear cracking. Yes! I don't think I could have done any better. Nope, we're good. That's as far as it can go. That's perfect. Didn't break the oak. And I think we can put a ladder up there and piece these things down, or cut them down slowly from here and let them kind of edge over. We might even save that redwood. I hope so.
Looks like it's clear, the redwood.
Good job. I love it.
Pretty clear.
Good job.
Yeah.
There's hardly anything holding this. Yeah, go ahead and keep pulling it. Maybe we can get it to break loose on the stump a little bit more and go down. I think that would be good.
What do you think it's hanging on?
It's pulling. Keep going.
feel like parang those canos running,
Is it at the end?
coloring.
You're gonna jam?
It's good right here.
It's moving. Further away from that redwood that we can get it, less potential for wrecking that. The stump is what's keeping it up off the ground, and whatever roots are still in the ground over there. I think that's about as far as we need to go. So at the same time, the client says, you know, this one's going to go down too. And judging by the weakness at the base of this tree and the angle, I think this one's going to go too. All right, you ready? So what we decided we're going to do is we're going to start jacking on it, because we want to try and clear all these other things over here. Let's see what we got. Oh, there's some cracking going on down here. Keep going, it's cracking. Yeah. Keep going. Oh, this is so cool. We got it. 29, 10, 11, 31, 24, 6, 40, 55, 6, 55 years old. That's pretty old for a cottonwood. Small cottonwood. Decay runs all the way down the trunk. Ants move in.
When you top it. They came in here where they topped it.
That's where they topped it. And everything that grows off of it grows off the side. And look at all the decay setting in. So as it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, it just grows and grows and grows until it self-destructs. And that would have never happened if it was a virgin framework or virgin structure that hadn't been...
What should have they done?
Left it alone. There's no
left
reason.
it?
There's
Yeah.
no reason to shorten a tree. The only reason people top trees is fear, power lines, or if it's obstructing something.
Mm.
You know, this cottonwood's been spurred many, many, many times. And a lot of people say, well, trees are tough, they can tolerate it. Well, let me show you something here. I cut off one spur mark here. And you can see how much damage it is. And it's easy to look at these things and say, oh, it's healing. Let's look at from the underside. Well, that's all directly associated with that one spur mark, all that discoloration there. The wood's supposed to be nice and white. So let's go a little bit deeper. All right, there's the spur mark still, and it's hollow all the way through. And the discoloration is spreading all the way up and down that section of the trunk. And on the back side, it's still discolored. And if you look in here, look at the discoloration in this. This tree is supposed to be nice and white like this. So, you tell me, spurs don't hurt trees. All right, so let's look a little deeper. I haven't cut into anything yet, but from the surface you can see a lot of discoloration and cracking from connections. Now let's go ahead and take a slice and see what we've got. All right, I'm going to start by cutting it off. I'm going to stand this up and I'm going to take a narrow slice all the way down to see what it looks like underneath this area of multiple spur attacks. Well, let's start with the discoloration of the wood. Here's where it's been spurred all the way along. Here's the discoloration that's leading into the trunk of the tree. So I'm going to slice this off over here and let's take a look at it. All right, there's the first shot. You can see where the spurs come through and there's a first level of discoloration. Let's turn this around and see what it looks like from the other side. This wood should be nice and white.
Are you seeing how old this one is?
No, just seeing how far the decay goes and the ant colony inside here.
Really?
Come look
Up
at
in
it.
the top.
Come look at it. I've cut it off. This is where it was topped before. Look, careful, careful. I mean, look.
Holy, and this is the top of the tree.
Yeah, this is where they topped it.
Ah, ants. Hormigas.
Yep.
Ah.